All right, as promised, here's a lesson on Oliver Anthony's Men North of Richmond for the banjo. Um, got some comments, a few actually, which I was surprised about hey, tab, any tab for beginners? So unfortunately, I don't do tab anymore. Nothing wrong with tab. I did tab a lot when I started playing the banjo, but then just over time, kind of relied less and less on it. As my knowledge of music theory has it grown, and also just playing so much, you just kind of know your ear just and your fingers educate themselves on where to find the notes. I just don't do it as much. I don't even have a tab program. So, but that being said, I still think it's good. It might be beneficial for someone who relies on tab a lot to kind of talk about some ideas of how to put together a song like this. So that's what this video is going to be about. It's just going to be about some ideas using Oliver Anthony's Men North of Richmond tune to put together, a banjo backup of how to sing with the banjo, play solo with the banjo, maybe do a break on the banjo, whatever. And this is a great tune because not only is it a great tune that America recognized, which is encouraging. Get the camera just a hair bit to the left. But it's also accessible. It's 4 chords, and so a beginner. This is totally a great beginner. If this is the song that you like to play and sing, this is totally an accessible song to learn and grow your skills from. So let's do that. Before we get started, the performance that you listen to, my cover of it was done in open F tuning, which is just standard open G tuning, which is what I'm in now. All the strings tuned down, one whole step. So, and that was just I just did that to accommodate my vocal range, which E minor, which is the first chord in open G tuning, which is where I'm at now. E minor. It was just easier to go down a whole step for the vocals. A little too high for me. But right now I'm in open G tuning, and we'll be playing in the key of E minor. Okay. So when I listened to this song, probably last week, I think I picked up the chord progression from watching his chord shapes. So Oliver Anthony played out of chord shapes a lot, I believe, which was also another good thing. It was why it was accessible. There are 4 chords to this. It's in the key of E minor. The first one, let's just go through it. It starts on the E minor. Also, I'll kind of do both 3-finger and claw hammer in this. So the chord progression is E minor, C. I'm coming up here to this C just because it's kind of the way I hear his vocals. They start low, go high, and then come back down. So again, E minor, C, G, D. Then it's just loop. The rest of the song, if I remember it correctly, is just a loop of that. So E minor, C, G, D. So once you know that, you've got a basic skeleton of the tune. And from there, what I ended up doing, because I didn't put a ton of time into working up fancy banjo riffs or anything like that, was just put a few patterns into the song. And I think they actually just came naturally as I just heard the song and jammed on it for a day or two. The pattern I used just kind of came, like I said, organically. But the way I kind of hear his vocals are, I've been selling my soul. So he kind of starts a little bit low, goes up, and then kind of comes back down. Not all the way down, but kind of in the midpoint of those, the low point and the high point. And to me, that's kind of accommodating for a 3-finger player. It would be like a forward reverse roll. If you don't know what that is, just Google it. It's a pretty. I think, I don't know how bluegrass players think. I think that's one of the easier rolls. But so if we just apply that pattern, the forward reverse roll, and I don't know how, I'll probably start on the 4, because the 4 string, because that's one to start on the root. And let's just apply that pattern, targeting the root notes of the chord changes, into a forward reverse roll pattern. And let's just iterate that from a 3-finger approach. All right, that was a mistake. Let's try that again. All that was the forward reverse roll pattern over the chord structure. And as you can see, that sounded musical to me. It sounded great. From a claw hammer perspective, claw hammer, especially if you're a beginner claw hammer, you can totally apply just a standard bum ditty to that chord progression. So let's do that. And I'll probably do the hammer on onto the E. So, I don't know if you noticed, but when you're doing the bum ditty, it's totally acceptable to do bum, bum, strum, thumb, just as it is bum, single note. So, bum, here's the bum ditty with strums. Bum ditty without the strums. Whichever you choose is up to you. A little more advanced concept, because I kind of like the forward reverse roll pattern, because I think, again, it kind of suits the way Oliver Anthony sings the tune, but it's much more of an advanced technique, still totally accessible and something that you could work on if your skills allow. In the claw hammer approach, I like to do kind of mimic the forward reverse roll, which requires some, like I said, advanced techniques of maybe some alternate string pull-offs or some up picking, and certainly some drop thumbing. But in order to do that forward reverse roll claw hammer style, I guess my strings are going to be 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the E minor. So that was 4, 3, 1, 2. Actually, let's do an alternate string pull off and do 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's an up pick as well. 4, up pick, 2, 1. That's the forward part of it. To reverse roll it, to mimic like I said, the 3-finger, it's all drop thumbs. So let's put it together. And that's kind of just the advanced claw hammer way of playing. Progressing that through to the C. Another good concept is, again, when you're especially for this song, because his song is so statement, the lyrics are so statement, it's very downbeat heavy. I like to make sure that downbeat goes to the root of the chord. So because I'm playing the C here, the C is on the 3rd string, 5th fret. That's going to be 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 2, 1, 5. Well, for forward reverse roll, it's going to be 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 2, 1, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is hard. Here we go. So the C will be. So let's connect the E minor and the C. Okay, and and then you can continue those patterns. I think that's mainly how I played it. I might have put some strums in there, so something like. Again, when I'm playing, I'm not thinking. I'm just letting the, whatever I'm feeling express itself. So it would be something like bum, strum, thumb, bum, that's it. Bum, strum, thumb, bum, strum, thumb, bum, strum, thumb, bum, strum, thumb, bum, strum, thumb. So if you wanted to play it exactly like I think I played it, it was more like bump, strum, thumb. Or if you count 1 and 2 and, so the 2s and the 4s would be strums. And so if you really wanted, to get. So I think that's about as close as I can get. If you like just the way I heard the melody and want to play it very close to the way I did, it would be bump, strum, thumb, just through the chords. And I mean, from there, I'm sure I put some, like I said, on the E minor, I'm sure I hammered onto that. So it'd be something. And I kind of like the bump-a-ditty pattern, just because the banjo has a sometimes frustratingly lack of sustain. That if you do a bum ditty, there's some space. The banjo notes will decay, but again, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. All right, so let's see, played out of chords, banjo tune, chord progression, E minor, C, G, D. Strums into rolling strums. Okay, I think that's what we just kind of covered. I think that's kind of what I was doing. It was like these kind of rolling strum things again. So that's probably the way I would. They're kind of these rolling strum things. And all right, so that's about it. I mean, if you wanted to fancy it up, one of the things I did notice. So like, let's go through the chord progression again. So like in that, when you're coming through that G, you could kind of lift, because if you put the 4-finger G down, if you lift the 3rd finger, and I'm not giving you the bird, sorry about that. That's a G. That's a B. So as you're doing that forward reverse pattern, I kind of like targeting the G, but then putting it back down as I'm coming through the reverse roll part of it to get to the D. So it'd be something. Let me see if I can do that. And I just did it backwards. I did the B to the G. Let's try it again. I hope you heard that. I hit the B note harder. But and so from there, you can take these patterns, and then there you can, target different notes and put the flavor that you want onto it. And you don't even have to go through chord progressions. If you wanted the scale, you could pick the melody out directly. I mean, the melody was pretty. To me, it wasn't a melody that had like a lot of notes, different notes. It was he stayed to like some same target tones. So I didn't really try to mimic the melody at all. I thought just rolling did a good enough job. All right, so let's go on to some singing concepts with the banjo, and what he did. And I think if I remember correctly on that video, he kind of went through the chord progression and just did some some strumming to just kind of accent. So it's like, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. So leading into the song, he kind of does what are called pickup notes. Like if you play another instrument like a violin, you'll hear, I mean, it doesn't have to be the violin, I guess, but it could be, he kind of picks up into the downbeat. So I've been is like the pickup note, and that would be, I don't know, 4 and or 8. I've been selling my soul, and then he strums on that downbeat. So I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, and then the other strums come right on the downbeat. And then, you know, when you're singing with the banjo, by the way, even when you get your playing, if you're a beginner, I know it took some time to actually sing. It doesn't seem like putting the two together would be that hard, but it can be. So that's just something to practice. One good way is to kind of count. Make sure you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But some basic concepts also of singing with the banjo is when you're doing the singing, I would keep the banjo backup as basic as possible. I wouldn't be doing probably even some of those like rolling strums I was saying, I'd probably keep to a minimum. You don't have to, but you're, you know, the idea is that when you're singing, the melody is obviously your voice, and the backup or the structure of the tune is going to be more like the instrument or whatever you're using, a guitar, which would be like some just chord strums. So in that song, I like the way he did it was I've been selling my soul. So the strums, working all day, overtime hours, just on the downbeat, for bullshit pay. So we went through one cycle. Then he kind of goes to a little picking pattern, and you could do something like a bum diddy. So I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours, for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drive back home, and at the end of the day, I screwed up the lyrics, but you get the idea. Or if you like, just continue the rolling pattern. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours, for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drive back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame. But I wouldn't get too crazy with the backup pattern, which is whatever, you know, has the foundation of the tune is kind of what I would go with. I'm certainly still guilty of overplaying tunes, but this tune is about the melody and the vocals and the lyrics, and yep. So I think that's about it, y'all. Sorry for not having exact notes, but I hope we hit some key concepts of how to take, especially a great folk song like this, a country song, bluegrass song, whatever you want, however the genre it gets labeled as, and get a version you can play and sing to. I hope there were some concepts there. Some other videos that have where I've learned this in my banjo journey would be a few YouTubers I would recommend. Clifton Hicks does a great job. I love Clifton Hicks videos. He plays a lot of singing tunes with the banjo. I've learned a lot from his channel. And During Live has a great banjo podcast. One in particular, I think it's recent. Miles, I think is his name. Michael Miles. But anyway, he has. I think they just released a lesson on singing with the banjo. Check those out. And anyway, if you have any questions about this lesson video, just leave them in the comments, and hopefully this was detailed enough. And thanks for listening to the video. Enjoy playing this tune. It's a great tune.